Do you? How do? Beautiful words, ladies of the nerdum. This is This Week in Gaming for March 8th. Manny Roman, with me as always, the man with the glasses.
Hey man, I'm
Oh, hey.
I'm just happy to be here. Truly, just happy to be here.
That's good, buddy. I'm always happy to see you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Joining us this week, as you guys already know by now from listening to the last episode, is Sir Cass Nims.
Well, hello there.
Your name just sounds right, calling you Sir Cass Nims.
Sir Cass Nims. I can see it,
I,
man.
I think it's just because your name is just two syllables that you need that third one in there to really spice things up. So it's
You know,
Sir Cass Nims.
You know when you're scrolling through like Facebook or something and they're trying to sell you titles, like you can buy like a square inch of land in Scotland and be known as like should do one of those. Just Lord Cass Nims. Like
There you go.
Yes.
it's got a ring to it.
There you go. All right. So today we are going to be discussing PlayStation VR again. So after last week's announcement of the PSVR 2 being in development, PlayStation offered fans a glimpse as to what PSVR is going to have to offer for this year. And there's some actually real exciting stuff coming. So one of the biggest games on the PSVR has been Arizona Sunshine, which was like a open world, like zombie adventure survival type game. And the creators of that are bringing a new game to the PSVR called After the Fall, which is going to be kind of that Left 4 Dead co-op FPS type game. Let's see. So a couple other games. There's going to be an action adventure game that I talked to Brandon about before the show. It almost has like Borderlands-y over the top action vibes. It's called Fracked. There's a survival game that's like straight up my alley. It looks like called Song in the Smoke. They're bringing Doom 3 to VR. And then a game called I Expect You to Die 2, which I Expect You to Die was actually a very popular game on the VR, the original. And then the last one, which might be the most interesting if done right out of these six, I think it definitely would be, is a JRPG-inspired MMO called Zenith, coming to the PlayStation VR this year.
Yeah, I've always been super interested into VR as much as we talked about it for last week as well. And the MMO, honestly, for just like the very minimal gameplay we get to see, just makes me so happy to see where VR is going right now. I think there is a lot of promise. It does think that it will just be PlayStation exclusive, at least for my knowledge. Of course, you know, anything could be ported over to PC eventually. But yeah, I mean, there's some really great stuff for showing what we're so far getting to see. And then Fracked, yeah, I mean, it honestly looks really cool. Very in that animation alley that I'm really in love with.
I'm interested because now we're getting into MMOs VR, right? And the first thing you think of is Ready Player One.
Oh, Sword Art Online? No?
I thought he was going there too.
Well, yeah, I'd love to, but first and foremost, it was Ready Player One, right? You put on the rig, you get in there, play some games, and obviously Sword Art's the same way, you know. You get stuck in there, right? But it was always just like a fascinating concept that was just like right out of reach, you know what I'm saying? Like the VR has been out, you know, for a while now. I had one myself. I ended up giving it away to someone who would use it more, right? But I feel like this is kind of the thing that would get me back into VR, you know. So I think it's such an interesting concept, and I'd love to see how they're going to go about it.
Yeah, it's something that I'm really looking forward to. I'm curious if it's ever gonna. I'm sure it'll work on a PSVR 2 when that drops, because that would be awesome to have on a VR 2, especially with the new controllers they're working on for the new VR. But yeah, like the idea of an MMO in VR sounds. It's something I look forward to. I think we even brought it up last week. We talked about the VR 2. So it's really cool that we are actually getting something of this caliber in VR already, because we mentioned last week it felt like a lot of VR titles were just like tech demos and not fully fleshed out ideas, whereas now we're getting an MMORPG thrown in VR. So Zenith, I'm definitely looking forward to. I was kind of like you, Cass. I think for me personally, because there was a lot of really cool experiences on the VR when I had it.
Right.
I think the problem was like nobody I knew had it.
Exactly.
So like, there's a game called Werewolves Within. I don't know if you ever tried it, but it was super super fun, and I binge played that game for weeks. But it was just like it's really fun and all, but at the end of the day, like I know IRL people are like, reminisce about the fun times I had in VR with, and I was just like, everyone's like, nah, I don't need a VR. And I'm just like, but it's actually kind of worth it, I swear.
Right, like the only games that I really got into on it though were Super Hot. Right, Super Hot was a fantastic VR game. I mean, just the combat in it, it felt smooth. It was such an interesting concept, like when you move, time moves.
Mm-hmm.
It was that I really enjoyed. Honestly, it wasn't even like games, but the immersion ones where you're like a scuba diver and they drop you in a tank and you're just watching the fish and the sharks go around. Like just being in that environment. You know what I'm saying? More so than actually like playing anything. I thought that it was such a cool thing to just bring yourself to a different experience. That being said, what was it? Resident Evil was very interesting in VR.
I heard it was fantastic in VR.
But that being said, that's all I really got into, because I am more of like an RPG kind of person and multiplayer. So
yeah, which I mean, there's even some good multiplayer experiences out there. I mean, Farpoint, it's actually free right now for people that have VR and have PlayStation Plus. It was originally like think of like a Halo, but just the campaign. But then they added multiplayer later on, and it was a free update. And then there's games like Bravo Team and Firewall, I want to say it was called, or something like that. There was another like tactical. It almost felt like a Rainbow Six Siege in VR. So there was
interesting.
There were some like actually pretty good shooters that got developed over time for the VR.
Yeah.
And there's some other cool experiences like Werewolves Within, like Arizona Sunshine, The Walking Dead Sinners and Saints, or Saints and Sinners, whichever way it goes, was another really cool one, because it was like a narrative that would change based on your decisions, and you haven't really seen something like that in VR. I think VR has definitely been evolving very well. I think there's already a lot of really good experiences for it though. Like Rigs is another competitive game that I personally really liked. And I mean, seeing things like an MMO with Zenith, like a Left 4 Dead type online co-op shooter with After the Fall, another kind of big action movie type experience like Fracked, and especially like a survival game. Like that's not something you'd see. I thought I would see in VR for a while, because VR games tend to have survival games tend to have a lot of depth to them, because it's a lot of crafting and just a lot of gathering, and there's a lot of mechanics to them.
Right.
So there's a lot coming with the VR, and it seems like it's finally starting to hit its stride as the VR 2 gets closer, and to me it's really exciting.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to with the PS VR 2, because didn't they already they did crank out a second headset after the original, right?
Yeah, it was like a minor upgrade with HDR support.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I was gonna say I'd like to see what changes they make, but honestly, I didn't see what changes they made the last time around, so I'm pretty interested.
Yeah, it was HDR support. So the VR 2, there's a lot of things changing with it. So it's going to be a single cord thing. So it's not going to be that center console with like you have to plug 4 different cords into it.
Oh my goodness!
It's just going to be a single cord. They're making new controllers, so you're not going to have to recycle the PS3 Move controllers.
Right.
They're gonna have a lot of features that the DualSense has for the 5. And then they're gonna have like new accessories as well for it. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff coming. They did say it's not coming this year. Hopefully it's next year at least.
I also read that it might not be next year either. I think we might be looking at a 2023 situation for the PS5. Because that being said, the original came out 4 years after the PS4 launched?
I want to say that's about right. I think it was 2016 the VR came out, so it would have been 3 years.
3.
Let me see. PS4.
I'm relatively expecting them to keep the same time frame. But that being said, I mean, they still have to keep manufacturing the PlayStation 5, because I mean it's still sold out. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that they're going to be focusing on mass manufacturing these for at least a year. So
yeah, it's definitely something. Seeing the experience of the PS5 during a global pandemic, I'm sure the something like the VR that's a little more complex is going to be even tougher for manufacturing. But maybe that's why it's going to take till 2023. They're going to have to get the supply to meet the demand when it's ready to go.
Right. Hopefully they've learned a thing or two after this debacle regarding the PS5 itself. But I'm still impressed, and maybe it's just because it's the future of gaming and whatnot. It's gonna need some demand, but I'm still impressed that they have a cord going from the headset to the station. Like Oculus, didn't all like recent Oculus Rifts aren't they wireless these days?
I think some of them are. I don't know if all of them are. I know I don't want to say it was the HTC Vive. Sorry, was like full wireless. I know there's one VR headset that even had the store integrated into it, and you didn't need a PC to play it.
Right.
There's all sorts of stuff out there, man. I think the future of VR is exciting, and to see where it goes next is something I'm looking forward to see. Especially like with those, I can't remember if it was in Japan or Korea. They have those like almost treadmill type things that they have people playing those MMOs on. I don't remember where it's on. It's a tech demo on YouTube, and it's just like they're on treadmills and they're actually doing the running and things like that, and they have sensors picking up their movement. And so it's full immersion in these like VR games. So it'd be really cool. I feel like something like that would not be very easy to make publicly and mass produce.
Oh goodness!
So still really cool that they're working on things like that.
Anything to get me on a treadmill, right?
That quarantine 15, my guy.
Oh yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for our PSVR showcase recap. For those of you that are listening to us on your favorite podcasting service, remember to follow or subscribe to us. And if you are watching the VOD on YouTube, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about VR, what the future of VR holds. Is it are these games like Zenith and, After the Fall and all that, piquing your interest? Or do you still think VR is years away from you even being interested in it? I don't know. You tell me. And as always, to find all things Nerd Chambers, go to thenerdchambers.com. See you next time.